welcome back everybody to part 4 of the Blood Mage walkthrough that I'm going to be doing. Unfortunately, a lot of my recordings did not actually capture, and my mic at the time was starting to die, so I just decided to go ahead and I created a new character, just got back to the spot that we last left off from part 3, and I did end up picking up a couple different spells compared to the other character that I had created. So I still have Arcane Bolt and Arcane Shield. I still feel like those are pretty important as a mage. I did not pick up Heal, not just yet. I will be though next time I level up. I decided to go for the Glyph of Paralysis because it's a pretty strong combo if you first put down Glyph of Paralysis and then cast Glyph of Repulsion on top of it. It'll actually do like a mass paralysis within a certain area of effect. I think I would prefer that just because it doesn't have like a casting, like a charge up time. So I'm going to give that a shot for this playthrough. For my last two abilities, I have Vulnerability Hex. It's going to lower the resistances of the different elemental effects for an enemy, followed by Drain Life. So if you end up using Vulnerability Hex on an enemy and then you use Drain Life on them, actually that's a stronger spell combination. They're just going to take more damage from Spirit, which is what Drain Life is, and in turn, you're actually going to get more health back. But we're actually just going to pick up exactly where we left off from where that dying soldier was in the Korcari wilds, and I believe up here is actually going to be that flower that you need for the Mabari Warhound. Let me just pick that up. And
you can even smell that breath.
Alright, looks like we don't have a choice. We're going to have to attack. Let's quick put on that. Drain his life. 53. First off. Okay, and say what? Let's put on the Glyph of Paralysis. I think it can only capture like one enemy at a time. Even though it technically triggered, I think only one enemy is captured. Yep, only one is. That's definitely a strong combo starting out. Going. Cool. Took them out. Let's see if we can get Darkspawn. Nope. Because we have to pick up at least 3 vials of Darkspawn blood. There we go. We got one. Right on. We just got gold from that other guy. There are, I believe, you can pick up a couple other items around here that's going to start at least another quest that's going to have like an elite rank boss that you have to fight, and I think it does drop something. I just can't remember exactly what it does. Dang, he died quick enough. I was hoping that I could use Vulnerability Hex on him, and if I started losing health, at least at this point, it is pretty easy. That's kind of why I decided not to go ahead and buy heal just yet. I'm sure as soon as I level up, that's, you know, it should be actually, I think, relatively soon. But I will pick that up. I just didn't want to prioritize just doing that just yet. But, let's see, where can we go from here? Loot these guys, and then I'm going to go ahead and level up. I started off as an elf this time instead of a human. I just decided to do that because I don't ever really play anything other than a human, but also there's some pretty decent racial benefits to it. I believe the elf, it gives you like +2 magic, I think, right off the bat, or like a bonus to it. Especially because for a Blood Mage, I did recently put out a Blood Mage build video, which is actually the playthrough that I was doing on here. And we definitely want to prioritize having as high of magic as possible to have as high of spell power as possible, which is going to make all of our spells hit a lot harder. They're going to be a lot harder to resist, in addition to they're going to last longer. The duration is going to be higher. All good things. Mud Idol. Okay, there we go. I believe part of it. But I don't think we have to go this way just yet. Because I think that should have looped around to where we first came in. But let's just keep moving on. Let's go up here. I believe actually up here is where we're actually going to pick up like those ashes that we need to pour over that grave site or those rocks. These little rogues are popping out of stealth. Yep. Okay, there we go. You'll know you're at the right place when you see some darkspawn fighting like wolves. That's definitely the right area. Oh shoot! Oh, okay, at least I had that rogue with me. Otherwise, I was starting to get a little bit afraid that I was going to get overwhelmed. Let's have them trigger that trap. Let's do it on. Put the vulnerability hex on that rogue. We'll do the arcane bolt, followed by drain life. And somehow that wolf ended up surviving over everybody else. Loot everything in the area. Time to be greedy. It's like being a pack rat. All right, here we go. Missionary, excuse me, Rigby's Last Will and Testament. There you go. So we picked up that quest. I would switch over to this guy. Just kidding. We can't lockpick that. All right. Now let's move on to one of the last like larger group encounters before we finish up here in the Korcari Wilds. And at least for me, these have been like the only really important areas I would recommend you going to. Just because, like I said, there should be a really, I think there's a decent loot that you would get from Missionary Rigby's. Jeez. All right, let's actually use the glyph of paralysis on that guy. See if we can stun him. Put vulnerability hex on him. We'll drain his life. We'll also use arcane bolt. I'm going to have Alistair heal. We'll have him heal and him heal, just to make sure, because they are rushing in and they're really going to be our frontline defense. I haven't really put any kind of points into Constitution for this character. That's just so far. I'm going to play a little bit more aggressive. All right, cool. We just with the emissary, those are just the mages that are of the darkspawn. And looks like he dropped his staff. It gives us 2 spell power compared to R1. It does slightly more damage, but it also gives us a plus 5% increase to spirit damage, and that's some good stuff. That's actually what Drain Life is, as well as the Arcane Bolt. So we're gonna definitely put that on. There we go. Let's put that on. Do the Arcane Bolt, and then we'll do Drain Life. So you saw it just did slightly more damage instead of 52, which was the damage that we saw when they had the vulnerability hex on, followed by Drain Life. It did 57, so a slight increase, but 5% more. Let's see if we put. No, he's gonna die before. All right, but at least right now, based off of the build that we want to create, it seems like the staff is going to be the way to go. But let's go ahead quickly loot these guys. That guy, dead soldier, pouch of ashes. Okay, this is definitely what we needed. You'll pick up this and the excerpt from Local Myths and Legends. Excuse me. So actually, let's go finish off the this little encampment here for the darkspawn, and then we will go and or not. I thought there was going to be. Oh, there we go. Jeez. All right. switch. There we go. Oh, he's almost dead anyway. Alright. Ah, darn it. Man, that took me by surprise. I thought they were just like regular darkspawn just chilling around here. I forgot that they were actually rogues that were just, they pop out of stealth. But it looks like we're good to go with that. Let's keep on moving up. And now let's go ahead and do that Ashes quest. I can't remember exactly what the heck we get from it, but I thought it was a decent piece of gear. There we go. Alright, let's loot that death root. And pile of rocks. Here we go. Sprinkle more ash on the pile of stones. Oh, shoot. Alright, there he is. Gazarath? Alright, looks like it's an elite boss. As you see, his name is, it's in orange, meaning that he is a very difficult enemy. I think that just means that he's a boss. But we already put on the vulnerability hex on him just to make him more susceptible to elements. And then we're also just going to use the glyph of paralysis to root him in place while our enemies bash the heck out of him. Life, 51, not bad. 34, okay, that's decent. Doesn't look like he's dealing that much damage to us. I mean, we do have some pretty decent defense, but if he would have kept attacking us, like, we don't have much health, as you saw. I'm taking continuous damage there, and I didn't have to worry about healing any of my allies. Alright, it looks like the loot, Enchanter's Footing. Oh, snap, okay. You get +6 defense, which, alright, heck yeah, we'll take that. Compared to what I have on? I have on Fade Strider, so we're going to trade off 1 magic for 6 defense. I think, at least right now, 10.8 versus, or excuse me, 9.8 versus 10.1. Alright, whatever. I'd rather have more defense, at least at this point. But that's the only other quest I would really recommend that you go ahead and do, especially because, you know, seeing that loot, getting another extra 6 defense, especially as a mage, because we can't wear armor right off the bat. I think that's definitely worth it. Now, coming up to this point, there will be a pretty large group of enemies that you're going to end up fighting, and then there will be a Hurlock Alpha, which is one of the main, he should be, I don't know if you would call him an elite, but his health bar, or like his name is going to be yellow. He is going to be a little bit more difficult. Let's make sure. There he is. He can sometimes take down actually all of your team if you're not smart about prioritizing like the ranged enemies first. But let's put the hex on this guy. We'll do Arcane Bolt. And it looks like Alistair knocked him down, but we're going to be safe and just heal him in the meantime. Let's do Glyph of Paralysis just to root him in place as well. And it triggered. Right on. Come on. No, they're just chipping away at his health. And perfect. Alright, cool. We got him. Let's do Arcane Bolt. And perfect. Alright, now we got through that area. And now we can just move up. Looting this guy. Enchanted Dagger. I would just loot it in the meantime. I wouldn't give it to, you know, to Davith. He is the rogue character, despite him being able to use the daggers. Yeah, I don't know. It's just not worth it. He's only going to be a temporary companion. He's not actually going to be part of your permanent squad. But let's just look around. I don't think there is anything else for us actually to loot up here. Doesn't look like it. So let's just go ahead. We will interact with the Warden cache, and that's actually the last point that of interest here in the Korcari Wilds, and then we have a cutscene.
Well, well, what have we here? Are you a vulture, I wonder? A scavenger, poking amidst a corpse whose bones were long since cleaned? Or merely an intruder, come into these darkspawn-filled wilds of mine in search of easy prey. What say you, Scavenger or intruder? 'Tis a tower no longer. The wilds have obviously claimed this desiccated corpse. I have watched your progress for some time. Where do they go, I wondered? Why are they here? And now you disturb ashes none have touched for so long. Why is that?
Don't answer her. She looks chastened, and that means others may be nearby.
Oh, you fear barbarians will swoop down upon you.
Yes, swooping is bad.
She's a witch of the wild, she is. She'll turn us into toads.
Witch of the wilds. Such idle fancies, those legends. Have you no minds of your own? You there. Women do not frighten like little boys. Tell me your name and I shall tell you mine. And you may call me Morrigan, if you wish. Shall I guess your purpose? You sought something in that chest? Something that is here no longer?
Here no longer? You stole them, didn't you? You're some kind of sneaky witch thief.
How very eloquent. How does one steal from dead men?
Quite easily, it seems. Those documents are Grey Warden property, and I suggest you return them.
I will not, for 'twas not I who removed them. Invoke a name that means nothing here any longer if you wish. I am not threatened. 'Twas my mother, in fact. There is a sensible request. I like you.
I'd be careful. First it's, I like you, but then zap. Frog time.
She'll put us all in the pot, she will. Just you watch.
If the pot's warmer than this forest, it'd be a nice change.
Follow me then, if it pleases you. Greetings, Mother. I bring before you 4 Grey Wardens who...
I see them, girl. Much as I expected.
Are we supposed to believe you were expecting us?
You are required to do nothing, least of all believe. Shut one's eyes tight or open one's arms wide. Either way, one's a fool.
She's a witch, I tell you. We shouldn't be talking to her.
Quiet, Dareth. If she's really a witch, do you want to make her mad?
There is a smart lad. Sadly irrelevant to the larger scheme of things, but it is not I who decides. Believe what you will. And what of you? Does your elven mind give you a different viewpoint? What do you believe? Oh, if you must protest so quickly, perhaps I need not ask. So much about you is uncertain, and yet I believe. Do I? Why, it seems I do.
So this is a dreaded witch of the wilds.
Witch of the wilds, huh? Morrigan must have told you that. She fancies such tales, though she would never admit it. Oh, how she dances under the moon.
We did not come to listen to your wild tales, Mother.
True, they came for their treaties, yes? And before you begin barking, your precious seal wore off long ago. I have protected these.
You... Oh, you protected them.
And why not? Take them to your Grey Wardens and tell them this blight's threat is greater than they realize. Such manners. Always in the last place you look. Like stockings. Oh, do not mind me. You have what you came for.
Time for you to go, then.
Do not be ridiculous, girl. These are your guests.
Oh, very well. I will show you out of the woods. Follow me.
Alright, now we made it back to the encampment. Let's go ahead and first, let's go talk to the kennel master. We'll give him that flower that we picked up in the Korcari wilds.
The Mabari's stable for now, but not improving. Unless I get that herb I told you about, there's not much hope. Let me see. Yeah, that's exactly it. Wonderful. Give me a moment and I'll make this into an ointment. He looks better already. I'm sure he'd thank you himself if he could.
Let's be greedy.
Payment? Isn't it worth something to save a valiant hound's life? I see. I have, well, 50 silver. That's my own purse, and nothing more. I hope it'll suffice. Now I must get on to the task of taking care of the poor fella. It'll take a day or two for him to recover, I think. Thank you.
Okay, whatever. More money is it's always good. So tell you what, let's go ahead and
Hello again.
see if
Is
I
there
can
something
just
you
go
need?
ahead and sell
Let me know.
everything. As you see, Blight Blood, that's actually something that I was given. I think you have to get one of the achievements for some of the DLC. Same thing with like Sorrows of Arlathan. It's if you get an achievement for the DLC, they're just automatically put into your inventory, but obviously we're not using them. Same thing with the Blood Dragon Plate, I believe, is just having like the DLC of the Blood Dragon armor. I don't know, I'm not planning on using it just because in case you guys don't have any of the DLC, I don't think that's fair. But let's just go ahead and sell everything. Whenever you can, if you ever talk to like a merchant, I would recommend picking up any kind of backpack. As you see right now at the bottom right, we got 80 available inventory slots. Every backpack that you buy gives you an extra 10. And just because at some point when you're running through the different zones, you're probably going to get a lot of loot, you know, either off the enemies or just out in your travels, and it's good to have as much inventory space as possible. Now let's just go ahead and talk to Duncan. We'll finish the quest, and we'll begin the joining ritual.
So you returned from the wilds. Have you been successful? Good. I've had the Circle mages preparing. With the blood you've retrieved, we can begin the joining immediately. Excellent. You will need that courage to face what comes next.
Courage? How much danger are we in?
I will not lie. We Grey Wardens pay a heavy price to become what we are. Fate may decree that you pay your price now, rather than later.
I agree. Let's have it done.
Then let us begin. Alistair, take them to the old temple.
The more I hear about this joining, the less I like it.
Are you blubbering again?
Why all these damn tests? Have I not earned my place?
Maybe it's tradition. Maybe they're just trying to annoy you.
I only know that my wife is in Highover with a child on the way. If they had warned me, it just doesn't seem fair.
Would you have come if they'd warned you? Maybe that's why they don't. The Wardens do what they must, right?
Including sacrificing us?
I'd sacrifice a lot more if I knew it would end the Blight. You saw those Darkspawns tonight. Wouldn't you die to protect your pretty wife from them? Maybe you'll die. Maybe we'll all die. If nobody stops the Darkspawn, we'll die for sure.
I've just never faced a foe I could not engage with my blade.
At last, we come to the joining. The Grey Wardens were founded during the First Blight, when humanity stood on the verge of annihilation. So it was that the first Grey Wardens drank of Darkspawn blood and mastered their taint.
We're going to drink the blood of those creatures.
As the first Grey Wardens did before us, as we did before you. This is the source of our power and our victory.
Those who survive the joining become immune to the taint. We can sense it in the Darkspawn and use it to slay the Archdemon.
We speak only a few words prior to the joining, but these words have been said since the first. Alistair, if you would.
Join us, brothers and sisters. Join us in the shadows where we stand vigilant. Join us as we carry the duty that cannot be forsworn. And should you perish, know that your sacrifice will not be forgotten. and that one day we shall join you.
Davith, step forward. I am sorry, Davith. Step forward, Jory.
But I have a wife, a child.
There is
Had I
no
known...
turning back.
No! You ask too much. There is no glory in this.
I am sorry. But the joining is not yet complete. You are called upon to submit yourself to the taint for the greater good. From this moment forth, you are a Grey Warden. It is finished. Welcome.
2 more deaths. In my joining, only one of us died, but it was horrible. I'm glad at least one of you made it through.
How do you feel?
Like a nasty hangover. Ugh.
Did you have dreams? I had terrible dreams after my joining.
Such dreams come when you begin to sense the darkspawn, as we all do. That and many other things can be explained in the months to come.
Before I forget, there is one last part to your joining. We take some of that blood and put it in a pendant. Something to remind us of those who didn't make it this far.
Take some time. When you're ready, I'd like you to accompany me to a meeting with the king. The meeting is to the west, down the stairs. Please attend as soon as you're able.
Right on. So we just completed the joining. Now we are a full-fledged Grey Warden. Unfortunately, our 2 companions, Davith and Jory, they didn't make it, but it is what it is. Let's just dump the rest of our points into magic, and let's go ahead and pick another ability. What do I want to do this time? I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and I'm going to pick up in the creation tree, I'm just going to pick up the 2 other glyphs, so the glyph of warding and then the glyph of repulsion. Just because this is one of another strong combo, and I don't know exactly why it's telling me, it's giving me a tutorial for some reason. Oh jeez, what the heck? Alright, I'll make sure I turn that off. But, so we're actually going to go ahead and see if I can map this stuff. So Glyph of Paralysis is what you're going to end up putting down first, and we have that on our hotbar. And if you actually will cast Glyph of Repulsion, Glyph of Repulsion, so let's do that. It actually will do a pretty strong combo. The only thing is, it's going to be difficult at times to cast this. Without getting caught in it yourself and your allies, just because it has like a large AoE explosion that when you do this combo, anybody in the area can get paralyzed. So if you cast Glyph of Repulsion on Glyph of Paralysis...
this reminds me.
There you go. As you saw, we got caught in that. It's a decent AoE, and you know, enemies and allies can get caught in this. However, you saw that's a long time to be stuck in paralysis. I just seem to favor this one over mass paralysis. just because it's got a shorter cooldown time, and you know, you can use the glyph of paralysis individually, and same thing with glyph of repulsion. So it just gives you a little bit more, you know, I guess just a little bit different tactics for different situations instead of just only using it to, you know, paralyze people. But this is the meeting that Duncan wanted us to go to.
Loghain, my decision is final. I will stand by the Grey Wardens in this assault.
You risk too much, Kalen. The Darkspawn Horde is too dangerous for you to be playing hero on the front lines.
If that's the case, perhaps we should wait for the Orlesian forces to join us after all.
I must repeat my protest to your fool notion that we need the Orlesians to defend ourselves.
It is not a fool notion. Our arguments with the Orlesians are a thing of the past, and you will remember who is king.
How fortunate Marek did not live to see his son ready to hand Ferelden over to those who enslaved us for a century.
Then our current forces will have to suffice, won't they? Duncan, are your men ready for battle?
They are, Your Majesty.
And this is the recruit I met earlier on the road? I understand congratulations are in order. Every Grey Warden is needed now. You should be honored to join their ranks.
Your fascination with glory and legends will be your undoing, Kalen. We must attend to reality.
Fine. Speak your strategy. The Grey Wardens and I draw the Darkspawn into charging our lines, and then?
You will alert the tower to light the beacon, signaling my men to charge from cover.
To flank the Darkspawn, I remember. This is the Tower of Ishal in the ruins, yes? Well, who shall light this beacon?
I have a few men stationed there. It's not a dangerous task, but it is vital.
Then we should send our best. Send Alistair and the new Grey Warden to make sure it's done.
You rely on these Grey Wardens too much. Is that truly wise?
Enough of your conspiracy theories, Loghain. Grey Wardens battle the Blight no matter where they're from.
Your Majesty, you should consider the possibility of the Archdemon appearing.
There have been no signs of any dragons in the wilds.
Isn't that what your men are here for, Duncan?
Yes, Your Majesty.
Your Majesty, the tower and its beacon are unnecessary. The
We
circle
will
of
not
Mage...
trust any lives to your spells, Mage. Save them for the Darkspawn.
Enough! This plan will suffice. The Grey Wardens will light the beacon.
Thank you, Loghain. I cannot wait for that glorious moment. The Grey Wardens battle beside the King of Ferelden to stem the tide of evil.
Yes, Kalen. A glorious moment for us all.
You heard the plan. You and Alistair will go to the Tower of Ishal and ensure the beacon is lit.
What? I won't be in the battle.
This is by the King's personal request, Alistair. If the beacon is not lit, Tern Loghain's men won't know when to charge.
So he needs 2 Grey Wardens standing up there holding the torch, just in case, right? Yes, so am I.
You'll need to cross the gorge and head through the gate and up to the tower entrance. From the top, you'll overlook the entire valley. We will signal you when the time is right. Alistair will know what to look for. Then I must join the others. From here, you two are on your own. Remember, you are both Grey Wardens. I expect you to be worthy of that title.
Duncan, may the Maker watch over you.
May he watch over us all.
Yes.
Now that we have Alistair in our party, this is actually going to be where we end our this part of the playthrough, or at least this episode. We are going to be making our way to the Tower of Ishal. And tell you what, I'm going to put points into strength first. Alistair's going to be our main tank. I recommend putting in points in strength and dex. Strength, I would prioritize that first, just so that way we can equip Alistair with some heavier armor, just because we want him to have as much physical defense as possible. But let's just go ahead, and he's going to be the weapon and shield line. That's really what we're going to focus on to make him more defensive. We could give him shield defense. That's not a bad thing to do at all. I guess, yeah, let's just go ahead and pick up shield defense. It's a sustained ability for him that's just going to give him a little bit more defense, but he's going to suffer his some to his attack. But that's okay, at least in the beginning for right now. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next part of our Blood Mage walkthrough. All right, take care, friends. Bye-bye.